Ta'afa for Muinale Kua. The Honourable Minister of Health, o Fiongo Walasi, Dua Pitu Whanua, Tōngamanga, Sedi, Your Excellencies, our development partners, ladies and gentlemen, Talofa Lava, a warm welcome to you all to the Ministry of Health premises here at our pharmaceutical warehouse on this occasion to acknowledge the kind donations to Samoa vaccines. We've all known the impact of the pandemic all over the world. We are fortunate enough that we are still safe at the moment, and we are working hard to maintain that. And with the assistance of everyone, our partners in health, we are able to have this nice and sunny day. But first, we will have our thanksgiving to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. O paia o sinave mauro matotua o le tupua awa le afio galo sina ma ainga salvalas malu foi to o le fale tolu ma le vaina lepa apa ia foi o le fale valmonga ma le sal to masanga e manato le tauto e au whangaina se whamatalanga wa le wa fio sa mo yo na tulunga mai lava yon tumtumbonga se ia pa ia na papa tuloto e fio mai o la wo fionga le Parliamentary o sa mo la wo fionga sa Faapitoa si me mata afa fa munale lua so foi la wo fionga le balas la wo fionga le minister o le Matagaluega Soifua Maloloina Malasi Rapita Whanua Tōngamanga Sedi le mamalu o tātou pāanga mai atunu i whafo i ai komisina Australia i New Zealand ai komisina fo i Sauniga i a whapea fo i le ampasa o Japani o sui menumano o tele o Peretania ia whapea de mano au whatas. O se ua e whalanu maawe a vene yaso. E wei o tātou veiroai, si nave mo muto o tua, o le malai o tapu wai tasi ia i Samoa, i sa i rino o tono white tumu i tangata whaangasengasea mare mamai. Ia walanu matanga o fie tau a fio mani tai au. Wanatu lea, ana sunga whawhengainga rewe ngani pētaia. Mo sina Sauniga pupu whawhitaia i leo rofa maneanga leo ne tumu i tai au. Whawhitai.
La tanto tapo i atu le tua, let's worship God, te o tatu stano. Matu iei le me nei, au ar whatonuina nei whamo moisa taupoina. Whatovala wala whanau, la lalo matu moisa i le pēra u fio, se whamo mia mana. Atasi mailo ngampo ia, Papa ia le fonga le awhaia nei, nei e pa ia i uruma, whātere nai pēro vi inga. O nei e soi ala tue le mātou stāna. Amen. Sina whai tau me le whiongpa ia le atua mo tātou nei tai au. Mai tuso whātau tue lung tā pui luas fulma le lima, a whai upui luas fulma le lima. O le vai manulu i le tangata o lai loa i le fiaini. O le tala le leilea mai le nuu mamau. From the book of Proverbs, chapter 25, verse 25. It reads, like cold water to a thirsty soul, so is good news from a far country. When a person is thirsty, a gift of cold water is greatly refreshing. This morning, we are here to celebrate and observe this great assistance from our overseas partners, specifically Japan and Australia, for helping our country to provide protection for our people from this deadly pandemic. Certainly, these supplies, medicines and vaccines are like a cold water to quench our thirsty souls. Walai lole larolangi le vela tu, male asa o le covitis fluiva. E lava le pai mai Samoa. E wa lava tala ave mai, maona afianga. O tatu loma na ngona ai, lona matautia. O taunu mai la ne so sani mai tatu paanga pe Japani, Australia, mai sfoi mano tele o le lala. O pela va se vai mano lui o tatu loto, mama fau. O lai loe le ngala i popoli. Malele mautonu. A lese me pito siria mo mia ele tangata fiini. Tangata ngala o na le vela tu o le la. O na se vai manulu. Le vai le ta o ne tu se fata otu. O peo se tala le lei. O se tala fia. Tala o mai ele ori o tatu lotu. O no le nei fama ioti. E le tau mate whapena o mosu tātou longona me e malwhanga i tere nei tai au. Tātou se whawhitaia i le alofa o le atua, o no lano soswani. O tawala mai i o tātou uso nei, mai nui mama. Tau i nei whamanuia le atua, na lātou soswani mai. Tau foi manu mo le Matagaluega o le Soifua Maloloina, ma leo foi ngaluenga. Mo le whangaina o ni o loa tāua, o ale Puipuia o le atunu. Tia tātou tāna. Mātou via pēla o fio le mātou tama. Le anga nei o nei o mātou uso nei. O lātou o apa mai so sani mai. Puipuia Samoa ma le nei manga. Whātumu ele o fio le poto le anta mai o le tō whāman whāutau tāna. O mea alofu foi o lātou foina, whai lawa lea mataulanga i lau fia. Whamanuia nei whamoi moe, e tele se vi inga o lau suafa. Whamanuia ni Matagaluega o le Soifua Maloloina, ma le lātou ngaluenga. Nei o lātou whamaoni taureina o Tuesday, a wāle Puipuia o Samoa. Whamanuia foi le malo, le awhionga le tamaitai palemia, kapeneta, o minista, whaurulunga o Matagaluega. O lātou whaiwatau au, a walawa i Puipuia o Samoa, mai nei whama. E pelo au taitai runga le antunu le ni aso i whaiwamtiute o taapea. O tāpoinga mau le o mātutua e pōle whala, ma tāpua i o ane manuia o le antunu. Le mātou whanau i a lātou wa o onga, pa pe foi i o lo tāpua i ainga, ma manu o au. E malutia le Soifua ma le ora o lo tunu ma lau whana. O mātou weweinga ma mātou se, le li e se alo whama ngalu mai lo mātou waiwai, ma lo mātou walea. Lo lau swaf ke wiso wala to le mātou titana. Amen.
Whaftai tēnei lau sunga ni whawhenga, Reverend Yane, Pitaia, ia mō le talasanga, ia ai me se fōi, upu tō matau, Funga maua iai nei au fia nei tūra le aso. Ato staro ia whangia pēne tua lo wha nuke se ai me a fio anga. Ia walta wa suina li pureola. Ia maua pēsa ufina ngalo. Sili le anga ia wale tau se ina le na fumamoe. Ia mai se whanono ngai manu wasio tatu watuno watoa. Ia o nei tula ia te au de ava mani ngā tu o te walau Faapitoa tuai saunanga au tū nei whiunga tu mai tai paramia anua porofia me Naomi Matagaluega. Ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished guests, our keynote address will be delivered by our Prime Minister.
Lausunga le te o Sauniga, lausunga Ioane Peteia. Laufiunga le Minister Soifua Maloloina. O paanga mamai a Samoa, sui o malo mai fafu. Le whaururunga o Soifua Maloloina, mamatanga aluenga le tato malo. Ua tato poto le neita e au mātanga ufie, e sulaina le alofa ma le anga le deo le atua, ona olana Puipuia malu o Samoa mai whainata o le whaamai, wa afia ai le lalolangi a toa. E mamori atu le whaafitai i le tapua inga tatalo a le atunuu i so se whata whaitaulanga. Ua whaawa wai pēr tūlanga manuia wa tātou iai. E mamori atu fōi le whaamalo i le atunuu ona o le ono sa ia, mausi ta ia o wawao e pei ona whaawa wina pēr i le taula lata mai ai o le whaamai o tātou watunuu tua oi. O le aunga o le nei Sauniga, i le nei tai au. O le mamoli lea o le tātou whaafitai a tātou paanga uma ua mawhai o na whisoswani mai. Ua mawhai e o na tātou maua ia tui Puipuia mo tangata uma o le tātou watunuu. Mo le whaamai o le COVID-19. I le taunu wai o tui Puipuia e se lau sfurulua afe mai le malo i a pani le vai aso ni te anei. Ua ato ai le whaitau au whai o tui Puipui mo tātou tangata. O le whamoemoe o le nei aso, o le whaailoa atu lea i a tātou paanga uma. O le tātou whaafitai, tau ina tala masinei ai le anganga fisosoani o a tātou paanga mo atu nuu tau ati ai. Ia, e fo ina tātou i Samoa nei. Salo ale a liwane loa i le ngangana Whaperitania mo le whamai a ina o le nei tautaranga ona o lo filomia le a tātou pāanga mai malo ese. Reverend Ioane Peteia, the Honourable Minister of Health, Development Partners and members of the Diplomatic Corps, Director General and CEOs of government ministries, ladies and gentlemen. It has been 17 months since government declared a state of emergency due to the COVID-19 pandemic. While Samoa remains COVID-free, we have felt its impact in every corner of our lives. Economies have stalled, we have changed the way we work and interact with our loved ones, and our healthcare systems are stressed. Governments around the world have been forced to implement harsh restrictions on human activity to curb the spread of the virus, while we have put restrictions in place to keep the virus out. We continue to follow all preventative measures as advised by our public health authorities, like wearing of masks, frequent washing of hands, and physical distancing, as we are still not there. COVID-19 vaccines, never before developed at such a pace and given emergency approval, are now offering a way to transition out of this phase of the pandemic. Without them, natural herd immunity will not be able to sufficiently restore our society to its normal status quo. We know that getting vaccinated helps to break the chain of the spread, reduce the variants, protects others, and promotes assurance that even if we do get sick, the severity of the disease is minimal. Our healthcare workers and the public health experts persist with the task of educating our people, as this helps to build trust in the decision to offer vaccinations, without which we can never return to normal life. Samoa would not be where it is at with its vaccinations rollout program without the help of many whom I would like to acknowledge. For access to vaccines, we thank the COVAX facility and the Gavi GOVAX AMC, the innovative financing instrument that supports the participation of 92 low and middle income economies in the COVAX facility, including Samoa. We have received the full allocation of 79,000 doses, estimated to cover 20% of our population. As well, we thank all our partners who have contributed financially to the COVAX facility, including the USA, the UK, the EU, Japan, Australia, New Zealand, which enabled our participation in the COVAX facility. Additionally, I acknowledge the following for having selflessly provided for our needs while they were waging bigger wars against COVID in their own countries. The government of Japan, for the latest supply of 112,000 doses delivered through COVAX's dose sharing arrangement, as well as providing the ultra-cold chain supply. The government of Australia, for 50,000 doses directly supplied to us, which bridged the gap in delayed supply deliveries and meeting transportation costs throughout the region under the Pacific Humanitarian Pathway. We also acknowledge their valuable contribution to the further development of our e-health system. The Government of New Zealand, for a requested 25,000 doses of AstraZeneca through the COVAX dose sharing mechanism, and the Pfizer vaccine for our population of children between 12 and 17 years old. We acknowledge also the technical assistance and information sharing provided to the Ministry of Health. On our UN technical partners, in particular the WHO, for regulatory approvals and standard setting, and UNICEF as our procurement agency and management of our needs, including contributions to the development of our National Vaccines Deployment Plan under the Resident Coordinator Office and provision of testing equipment. All our partners that provided public health supplies, including PPEs, masks, and sanitizers for prevention, such as China and New Zealand. All our partners that provided financial assistance towards addressing our COVID-19 response, including the multilateral financial institutions. This COVID-19 vaccination rollout with AstraZeneca would not have been possible without the close collaboration between the Ministry of Health and all other government ministries under NEOC, as well as all our development partners under the National Vaccines Coordination Committee. I especially commend the dedication and commitment of our frontline workers, in particular our doctors and nurses and all other health workers who have had to handle the vaccination program, as well as the health arrangements for all repatriation flights, inter-island passenger ferries, cargo and fishing vessels. Our vaccine supply needs are met. Our target will be to vaccinate everyone. It is imperative that we do this to protect our families, the people, and our country. In closing, on behalf of the government and people of Samoa, I wish to thank you all very much for everything you have done as a well-coordinated team, and you continue to do so, because we may still be some way away from the end of what has been quite a journey, and until the COVID-19 is defeated. Soifua, na Emmanuel.
Si toia mai si pati tele namo so namo wachanga fia na so pandemia. We will now move on to the official handover of our COVID-19 vaccines. I would like to call upon the Honorable Minister of Health, Honorable Valasi Faapitoa, Tongamanga Tafito Sensele, also to receive it, and also Government of Japan representative, Her Excellency Shinichi Terasawa. Please.
Thank you, Your Excellency Shinichi Terasawa, and the government of Japan for continuous support to Samoa government and its people. Thank you.
I would like to give the opportunity to remarks from our partners, the Australian High Commissioner, Excellency Emily Luck, followed by the New Zealand Acting High Commissioner, and also the UN representative, Dr. Simona Marinescu, and Pierre Roberts. Yeah, we'll give the opportunity first to the Government of Japan representative.
Lebron Ioane Betaya, Honorable Prime Minister Fiame Naomi Mataafa, thank you very much for keynote address. Honorable Minister of Health, Barasi Ruapito Fanua, Tongamanga Tapito Sere, Director General of the Ministry of Health, Leausa Toreafua, Dr. Take Nasem. Members of diplomatic corps and development partners, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, Talofa Laba, I am delighted to see that 112,000 doses of vaccines arrived at Apia from Japan through COVAX facility. On behalf of the government of Japan, I'd like to express our profound respect to the government of Samoa for its best efforts of the vaccine rollout for the people of Samoa, and to extend our heartfelt appreciation to the COVAX and United Nations organizations such as the UNICEF, and the WHO for their coordination on these vaccines. Japan has been supporting Samoa government's fight with the COVID-19 pandemic through assistance of various medical equipment, including cold chain supply. I would also like to highly appreciate Australian government's great contribution of 15 million doses of vaccines to neighbor island countries. I will continuously build this kind of collaboration with development partners such as Australia and New Zealand to promote the cooperation for Pacific Island countries. Now, I hope to highlight that these vaccines are the first case of our assistance realized by Japan's new Pacific Bond Kizuna policy. The policy was pledged at the 9th Pacific Island Leaders Meeting, or PALM-9, held last month between Japan and Pacific Island Forum member countries. At the PALM-9, leaders of Pacific Island countries emphasized the importance of cooperating to promote early access to safe and effective COVID-19 vaccines, strengthen healthcare systems of island countries, and support an economic recovery from the pandemic. In order to respond to the voice of island countries, Japan pledged its Pacific Bond Kizuna policy based on our vision of free and open Indo-Pacific. Through Kizuna policy, Japan will further strengthen its cooperation with Pacific Island countries to tackle with various global agenda. Tui Puipuia, Ole COVID-19, Faapitoa, Soifua.
Your Excellency, High Commissioner Emily Luck for Australia. Very much.
Honourable Prime Minister, Fiame Naomi Matafa, Honourable Minister of Health, Director General of the Ministry of Health, CEOs, dignitaries, members of the Diplomatic Corps, friends and colleagues. What a great occasion. Talofa lava. Australia is absolutely committed to supporting comprehensive coverage of vaccines in the Pacific and Timor-Leste. And we're very grateful today to see the delivery of the doses from Japan, 112,000 doses, so thank you very much to my good colleague from Japan. So far, Australia has committed to 15 million doses for the Pacific and Timor-Leste to ensure that our friends and neighbours in the Pacific receive that vaccine coverage, because we know that without vaccines, we won't be able to beat COVID-19. And we know that we're feeling it at home at the moment, so it's really great. And I congratulate Samoa, both the Ministry of Health, for the fantastic work you've done so far in the vaccine rollout, and also to the people of Samoa who have taken it up with such enthusiasm. That will make a big difference for Samoa and for the region. We're really pleased that so far we've been able to get 1.6 million doses to the Pacific and Timor-Leste, and we were very happy that Australia was able to fill a critical gap in the vaccine rollout to maintain momentum for Samoa with 50,000 doses over the last couple of months. Of course, it's not just about vaccines. Australia is incredibly pleased to be able to provide support beyond vaccines, and that includes funding for the Tamanu app, an Australian-developed electronic patient record system that will account for vaccines administered. And it's really exciting to see how that Tamanu app is being used by the Ministry of Health. It's really enabled some fantastic numbers to be shown for the districts, including in Savati, which is really great to see those numbers increasing. We've also been pleased to provide Australian-funded advice, technical advice on vaccine safety and research, and funding also to improve water, sanitation, hygiene and waste management at district hospitals. This all builds on support through the COVAX AMC, where Australia has committed 130 million Australian dollars. We will continue to work in partnership with our Pacific family in responding to that pandemic. Faapitoa lava.
The representative of the New Zealand High Commissioner.
Yeah, Listener Faapitoa, Honourable Prime Minister, Honourable Minister for Health, Director General of Health and your ministry, or other CEOs present, Diplomatic Corps, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, my name is Al Tatrauria Manuia, CEV Ingham and Faapitoa. Let me also say congratulations to the health sector and the Ministry of Health for the excellent effort of deployment of the vaccination throughout the country. New Zealand is a long-term partner of health, of the health sector, and obviously through the current vaccination process, we've been able to assist through funding to the COVAX facility that deploys vaccines to Pacific Island countries, including Samoa. And as mentioned earlier, New Zealand is also committed to providing funding assistance and support to hopefully deployment of the Pfizer vaccine later this year for all our under 12 to under 18. Yeah, now Paulus on down. Let I left out on but anyways, put a look for it to and you have just made it and they might find a maro and missile therefore the Nalana Tilema feature the deployment of vaccine in a summer route and Samoa. So for me, we
Dr. Simona Marinescu on behalf of COVAX.
Thank you so much, Reverend Minister of the Church, Honorable Prime Minister Fiamena Naomi Matafa, Honorable Minister of Health Valasi Tonamanga Tafito, distinguished representatives of the Government Director General, Dr. Taker Nasseri. It is indeed with great pleasure and gratitude that we join today our development partners and the government of Samoa in marking this conclusion of the procurement of vaccines for Samoa. We are equally grateful to the government of Japan, represented here by His Excellency Ambassador Junakita Rasawa, to the government of Australia, represented by High Commissioner Honourable Emily Luck, to all of the other partners here who have made possible the COVAX facility. And I would like to put on the record that together with Australia and Japan, we also have New Zealand, we have the United States, the United Kingdom, in no order, the government of China, who have put resources into the COVAX as well as transfer of vaccines using the same mechanism. We wouldn't be able to mark this success today without the great work that has been put into enrolling in the COVAX facility early on. So Samoa was one of the very few countries at the beginning to have completed the formalities to join the COVAX facility. It was in December, on 18th of December, when the first deadline had to be met. and then in January continuing with all the formalities to be able to receive 79,200 vaccines through the advanced market commitment arrangements. Just for everyone here, 92 countries within the COVAX received vaccines up to 20% of the population, 2 shots, without making a financial contribution. And this was because official development assistance provided by all of our partners enabled the transfer of vaccines at no cost, again, the 20% share. So a lot of work that has come into this process. I'm also equally thankful to the United Nations team here and to WHO and UNICEF colleagues who have assisted and continue to assist the government of Samoa in ensuring the full and successful completion of the vaccination program. Vaccination and access to healthcare represent a fundamental human right. We have marked this progress that the country has made into the Universal Periodic Review, UNCT report, United Nations report, that will be reviewed at the third UPR, Universal Periodic Review in Geneva in November. I also want to share with you all that the success of the COVAX facility that again brought in contributions of our traditional donors as well as of non-traditional donors may be replicated moving forward in addressing other challenges. And one of them that will be soon discussed is climate change. So similar mechanisms that would allow all countries to have access to finance, to have access to technology, to have access to means that are necessary to address the global warming challenge may draw lessons from the COVAX. I will close by saying that the United Nations has started the development of its new 5-year cooperation framework. This is a very intense consultative exercise. We are conducting now the common country analysis, and we will soon be able to engage with the government, with the civil society, the private sector to discuss the new priorities. We believe that health remains among key areas in which Samoa would benefit from support from partners, from the United Nations, and the United Nations supported by you all, distinguished representatives of the diplomatic corps here, and beyond the diplomatic corps here also by the European Union and other partners. And we look forward to ensuring that routine vaccination will be fully completed in this country, so all children will have full exercise of their right to immunization, and then COVID will remain somewhere outside, far away from Samoa. We also hope and pray for other countries in the region and other countries around the world to be able to address this massive health challenge that COVID-19 still remains. Faapitoa, talalawa, Soifua.
Yeah, let's have another round of applause for the remarks. I guess this concludes our short ceremony today. But our Prime Minister has conveyed on behalf of all of us how thankful we are. E manato leu motu le vasa le sui ngā ura tamaitai me le papa ua whaifolo lango fore falasa a wautu sengi le vai a rainga sa mani e whamoe o le nei aso ia leo tau no manuia tau ia na mole atu le nganga whaftai la ua fionga le tamaitai palemia papea foi o fionga le minister Payale le suatu sunga taitai le sunga kawhea. Nei aso, le whawanoi na mai alo tu teimi tāua. Se i o tātou patipatia mwhawhitaia le rofo le atua. Le rata i lona tapu au ina o le ola ma le mānosio se tātou atunu le wei te whengata. I ai tātou whawhitaia ai le fua ai tāua. Pe na fua i mai ina i tātou paanga tō tino. Si lo fiele atua le nganga le whawhtai, ia le atua le nganga whamalo i tiuta mawhaiwa. Ia, le so, whawhonga tātou atunu, ia ele o ni tunga tauwhapo o ni muliwai tau whawhsota. E manatu, o le awa inu malie le atunu i sosani a tātou paa. Ai toi au tātou, Tatou lota te leo mai o mai wha atoa tatou tui. A ne atoa uma tatou e tau ona tui. Ia ona vale tō lima leo le sasani. Ia tatou me lea ai lea. O le alofo le atua whio na wha alia ne aso. Ia alofa ngia le atua lawa whionga le taitai. Tūlai mai nei vai tau. Ia au mane atua wha moi menga uma. Fuafuanga uma. Whio mai whio le whionga le li minstar. Ia whapea whio na wha moi moi ne atua I rana sasani sa seitu. Ma whangia le whapuna, whatuna, pauli ai le sunga le tamawhai whiau, siona pausisi. Ia wā whai tau e suina le ipure ola. E so sangi ai seo tātou no. Ia manuia tātou paanga le Soifua Maloloina. Malo au whatasi. Ia Samoa poto. Ia mua ni mānasi am tanga renga le Soifua Maloloina e tau tuai le tunu. Ia nganga whalo aro. Whawhitai. Ia